Hello, this video is for IXL activity 8.F.1. It's titled Understanding Exponents. Its three-character code that IXL uses for this activity is Victor Foxtrot Victor, VFV. And in a lesson that we talked about what are exponents and bases and powers. We had that vocabulary there. Let's review that a little bit. We learned that an exponent has a base. So it has a base and it has an exponent. And together, the base with the exponent together end up making what we refer to as a power. Now, our base is that big number that we have there, such as, say, maybe 5. And then we have a superscript, or like a small number that's lifted up to the upper right of that base number, such as this 5, and like maybe a 3, right? And so we had a base, and we have an exponent together. They create a power, and we know that this would equal 5 times 5 times 5. And if you multiply all that together, you'll get 125. So our activity here, what they're asking us to do is to put in the exponent that goes along with the example that they've given us. So here we know that the base is the factor that's being multiplied times itself over and over again, and the exponent is the number of times that it's being multiplied. So here we have a base of 23 that's already given to us, right? We just need to fill in the exponent. So the exponent's the number of times it's being multiplied times itself. So let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it looks like a 5 belongs there. So you're saying, Mr. T, is that all there is to this activity? Pretty much not. There's no calculation on this. The object is, just as the activity name says, we're going to understand exponents and understanding what they are. So let's look at the next problem. We have use the expression, or write the expression using exponents. So 59 is the base. That's been given. Just need the exponent. Well, how many times is the base a factor? Well, it happens to be twice, so it's 59 to the second. Remember, we could also read this as 59 squared. Anytime something's to the power of 2, we could read it as 59 squared. The next one is write the expression using exponents. Well, we had the base 74 given already, and it looks like it's there 4 times, so the exponent would be 4, 74 to the 4th. Here we have 36 times 36 times 36 times 65 times 65. So we've got two different bases. We have the base 36 and we also have a base 65. So how many times is 36 represented? Or how many times is 36 a factor? Well, that would be 3 times. And how many times is 65 a factor? That would be twice. So this could be 36 cubed, 65 squared. Well, this next one here, well, gee, we're getting variables now, right? Well, that's okay. A variable can be written to include an exponent and be a power, so we can have variables in there as well. So we have a base of 95 and a base of n. Well, 95 is only there once, and so we just put 95 to the first. Well, we have n 3 times, so we'd have n cubed, or n to the third. So this would be 95 to the first, n cubed. Now we could also read this 95 times n cubed would be another way to say that. Don't necessarily, because 95 to the first is going to just equal 95. Normally we wouldn't put it there, but for this activity you do need to, you can't leave it blank. You have to type something in there. So we're going to go ahead and put a 1 in there. On the next one, looks like we have, wow, 1, 2, 3, 4 different bases, so we're going to have to go through and find them. What about 4 to the base of 42? All right, base 42, well, we see it there once, twice, so 42 squared. The base of 95 only shows up once, so we'll type in a 1. The base n shows up twice, so that's n squared. And the base of p shows up twice, so that's p squared. So it's 42 squared times 95 to the first, times n squared times p squared. On this next one, we have two bases, 17 and r. Looks like 17 shows up once. It's a factor one time in this expression. However, r is a factor 4 times, so we're going to use the exponent 4. Then they take away the base, and you actually have to type it out with the base and the exponent. So simplify this expression, write your answer using single variables raised to exponents. So what is my base? My base is k. You might be saying, well, how do I put the exponent in? There is a button underneath it on IXL. It has a box here, and then it has a box here. We're going to type in the k first for the base. So type in whatever your base is, hit that button, and then a little box will show up here. And where that box shows up, you're going to go ahead and put in your exponent. So this would be k to the 4th. Here we have a base of b, so we'll type in b, and then hit that button underneath that's going to be right there to put in the exponent. And b shows up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. So this is an exponent of 8. So this expression here is b to the 8th. On the next one, and these are the last two problems here, I'm going to type in m. And I don't believe you have to put the 1 there. I'm pretty sure, if I recall from this activity, you can just put m. So let's go ahead and take that 1 back out because it only shows up once. N to the 1st because it only shows up once, so we don't need to put that there. And then p, the base p, is going to show up 1, 2, 3 times. We have p cubed, and we're okay with that. Let's talk about something here dealing with exponents. This here expression says take m, multiply it times n, and then multiply that times p cubed, whatever p cubed is. We'd obviously have to do the exponent, the power, before we could get that worked out. But that is different than if we had m n p cubed, because this would equal m cubed times n cubed, 3, there we go, times p cubed. All right, these are two different things here. But since we don't have the parentheses, we don't have to worry about all this here, and we can put m times n times p cubed. And we know that since it's not parentheses, the cube, the exponent, only applies to the one variable or value that it follows. That'll come in handy later on as we do other activities in the future. Here we have, I guess let's do them alphabetically, W, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. So let's do V first, right? V, and that's to the 1st. So we'll just have V. T, U, V, W. So let's do the W next. And notice it only shows up once. W, T, U, V, W, X, Y. Y would come next, and there's only one Y. And then finally the Z. And we want to push that button down here to put in our exponent of 2. So it would be V, W, Y, Z squared. All right. So those are all of my examples for IXL 8.F.1. Understanding exponents. That's pretty much all there is to it. You don't have to calculate them out. You don't have to find the answer to 23 to the 5th, any of that. You just need to understand the idea of taking this expanded expression and then representing it using fractions and representing it as a power. All right, good luck here on your activity.